All good? All right.
Yep.
So we'll go back up to the CIP. Oh, boy.
So we have an agenda item 2C that replaces our draft copy.
No, that's why I said, oh,
Yeah,
boy.
there's one in the book, in the your handout.
You don't have a colored copy, do you?
I had a colored copy that came in the mail.
I got a color copy, but not from
Half.
not from the schools,
That one's good?
Okay.
except
Well, I
for
have
the
a- I
except for the
have
school.
7 of them on my desk, so I can go get it.
Do you have any
but-
packet?
Okay.
A colored one came in the packet.
That's a different spreadsheet. The colored one, they all have these in color.
Do you have this? Okay.
Packet
You don't
mail.
have them.
I got it. So-
Don't you
Oh,
get
here
it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
got it.
And
Okay.
now Mark has one, so I just did it.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I'm the only one without it.
Oh, well, yeah.
I make the,
All right.
so it goes right.
We've done this a little, this is a little delayed as we're putting the finishing touches on this. As you know, this is simply a plan. It's a 10-year plan. What we generally focus on is the plan of the upcoming year, which is the 1920 year. It's the column the most left. And of course, the farther you get out, the more vulnerable those plans can be. Different elected officials a year, different budgets, different things break down, et cetera. So we'll stay, and what we vote on typically is the plan of the 1920, and we'll stay focused on that. But if you see anything glaring, by all means, you can point it out to us. And I'll just run down the list from the top. You know there's a color code to this, right? So on your 5th page, on the last page, it's gonna give you the coding. Where's that coding? Okay. On that 5th page, you'll see, in brown is CNRE, Capital and Non-Reoccurring Fund. Purple is LoCIP, which is state money. It's capital non-reoccurring fund, but it's state money, LoCIP. If we don't get the money, we don't spend the money. It's very simply, it's not in the East Lyme budget or East Lyme taxpayer budget. It is LoCIP, it's state funding. If I go back up, bonds and notes, these are bigger ticket items that we will actually go to bond with. Grants are in red. And you'll see town, and town means it's baked into that budget that you already approved.
That's blue.
Okay.
Other funds?
And blue is
Oh
other
no.
funds.
I'm sorry. Town is in.
Yeah,
black.
the blue,
Okay.
you're right, I should have pointed that out. There's a few things that we have in blue, so I'll point those out as we go. So going back out to the first page, the assessor is in brown, that's CNRE. Every 5 years, as you know, we need to go through a reval. We have a habit of creating a CNRE, which is a bucket of money, a savings account, that we are putting money aside every year. So when we get to that reval, which is, I think, more than $500,000, generally they're,
We have it noted at 427,000.
okay. Oh, yeah, I see. It's 427,000 is our estimate. We'll be going out to bid next year for the next reval, and we'll have money put aside for that. So that's what that $130,000 is.
So there'll only be 260 put aside and the rest will have to be budgeted, or?
No, we've been ongoing.
Yeah, it would have been nice to know what the history was, what's already been approved.
Yep.
Just,
So we already have some funds set aside in CNRE, and this is what the remainder that's needed, so that we have the sufficient funds in time when we're looking to sign the contract.
which would be in the 2021 fiscal year.
Well, so we'll be going out to bid early in 2020, and so once the budget is adopted for the 2021, we'll be ready to sign the contract.
You'll stay up there, Anna, right?
I
We'll have
will, yeah.
questions as we go.
So from the majority of these, the remaining that you're asking for in 19 and 20 and 2021 would get you to the full amount you need to accomplish
That's correct,
the
yes.
the investment. Okay, thank you.
You see that in future years, we're looking at a folding and mailing machine for the tax collector, and the water and sewer department will share that cost. Going down
Well,
to,
I look at that and it says it's gonna enhance and make things more efficient. So what's the return on the investment of that $52,000? How much more efficient are we gonna get, or is the machine old, is it not working?
We don't have one.
Oh, you don't have one?
Right. So in other words, currently, staff is doing the printing and the folding and doing everything manually. What this machine would also do is it would have the ability to sort. So, for example, if people that have more than one tax bill, it would be able to sort them all into one envelope. And there's various levels of software enhancements that you can get on this machine. Like, for example, returned mail. There's something that would go out and find out what the new address is and provide us with that. So, that's something that we've looked at, but it's just always the cost and whether or not, we would get a good return on investment. With that said, water and sewer is also exploring billing more frequently. So when water and sewer gets to the point where they're going to look to bill more frequently, that's when it may make more sense for us to look at making this purchase and have them share in the cost of this with us.
That's not reflected currently in the $52,000 purchase price?
It's more like a lease purchase arrangement. No, it isn't. It's, the price is like all noted here. But once we actually get ready to do this, we'll discuss with water and sewer what's more reasonable. Plus, it would get it used more frequently.
Right.
Because taxes are, the big time is getting the bills out in July. Then we have the secondary when we have to mail motor vehicles out in January. And then currently water and sewer is doing their billings in May and November. So when they look to make a change to maybe going to 4 times a year, it may make more sense at that time to go ahead and make this purchase.
So we will own the machine?
It's going to depend on how we craft it. We may, the issue with these type of items is they keep making new and better enhancements and improvements, and so sometimes when you get to the end of your term, it would make more sense for an upgrade. But you just have to evaluate a situation like this when it comes up.
And if the service leasing is more advantageous than purchasing the machine due to upgrades, then that would become a regular budget line item, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. All right.
Keep in mind, most of these, especially the out years, this would be included, are placeholders.
Understood.
Yep. That, the plan hasn't fully been vetted, but we're thinking about this is where we might go. We might get to next year and we actually roll up our sleeves and look into it, and there might be a mail service out there that can do this work for us for equal or less money, and we wouldn't have the man hours to worry about or the maintenance and all the other issues that come with it. So I'll be digging deeper into that. Under engineering, there's a Ford Escort that's really an Escape, I think.
Yes.
Right.
I have a note there to fix that.
And that's in blue because
We're running it through the acquisition program. So in the past, what we've done with the acquisition program is in the capital improvement plan, we list the dollars that we're including in our budget to pay the acquisition payments, and it just became confusing for everyone. So with this year's capital improvement plan, we made the decision to put the full cost of the items that we're going to purchase through the acquisition program in it, and highlight it with blue to indicate that there will be another source of funds paying for this.
okay.
Was this the one we approved the other day that didn't get approved by finance?
Right, that we're still working through. It's going to be on their agenda on the 10th of April, next Wednesday, to
Okay.
review it. Now they kind of have a fuller understanding. We had to kind of jump through, we had to create more information for them to be able to make that decision. So that will be, do we need a sign call tonight?
No,
We decided not to?
It would be, my recommendation would be for this board to deal with it at the meeting of the 17th. So we'll have to discuss when to have a town meeting,
Before
because
May 1st.
the pricing changes
Yeah.
after May 1st. So we could have it the week after the 17th, perhaps before the water and sewer meeting.
So we will, we might have to have a quick special meeting to schedule a town meeting. We're waiting for the,
But we can
Board
do
of
it on the
Finance.
17th. We can do it on the 17th.
So we schedule
Okay.
the town meeting on the 17th and have it the following week.
Right,
we have to have the sign call on the 17th and do it the week after.
right.
Right, okay.
Maybe,
right,
if there's
let's-
enough days for the publication, we may want to consider doing it before the Water and Sewer Commission. That way, you know.
Okay, all right. Down below, under information technology, we put $10,000. We commit to $10,000 a year for the replacement of computers throughout the town departments. That's generally been enough. We have a fairly decent schedule we stick to. Computers last on desks, 5-6 years, and then they get replaced. So we're not doing anything abnormal with that. These computers, we're servicing town hall, public works, dispatch, not dispatch, but emergency operations and all sorts of other places. Computers all over town.
Mark, why do computers come out of the town budget and the replacement service goes into CNRE? Is there a reason for,
Yeah, the CNRE is not. We're actually not going to buy a server every year.
so you're just building up?
That's brown, so we're building a bank of
Okay.
money
That's
on
what I was
that.
thinking you were doing. All
So
right.
we committed to start saving for
So
that.
every year you're replacing up to $10,000 versus
And if you-
computers, servers are replaced every, 3-5 years as a.
If you recall, we had the
Yep.
server failure, and
Yeah.
so ever since then, we've
We're
established
contributing.
this
Okay.
methodology.
Under building maintenance, all those in purple include the East Lyme Community Center front vestibule. We're going to create a secondary door because the cold air rushes into the lobby of the library. East Lyme Community Center reseal and restripe the parking lot. It was, widened and fixed, but it still needs to be resealed and striped. The East Lyme Police Station improvements probably won't be needed. We'll probably strike that. But I understand with this list of LoSiP, it's not, we're going to do this. It's kind of a wish list thing, and then if we get state money, we apply we kind of triage our needs here and apply what we can.
Could that be, that could be in the existing or the new one,
We could use that in the new one.
if we do get state
Yes,
funding?
and
Could be applied.
there was a question that came up. We could use LoSiP money in our new police station.
And the
That's good to know.
issue.
That's why
with-
we're leaving it there.
Yeah.
With regards to LoSiP projects, anytime we submit an application to actually do the work that we have itemized here, we have to, the first selectman has to certify that the project was included in our capital improvement plan.
The town hall parking lot needs to be maintained properly. NFD and FFD fire stations have some work, a parking lot and septic system at the Niantic Fire Department, and replace garage doors throughout. Replace Flanders Fire parking lot as well. That's been on there for a while and it is sorely needed at this point. Upgrade lighting at the old highway garage. We've been looking into that. There's some dark spots in there. They had put some skylights, and some of you were on the commission when they did that. It just hasn't worked out. It hasn't.
That was at the new garage,
Yeah.
the sky.
Oh, this is the old?
This is the old garage, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, we did the other project. We did the lighting at the
Yes.
new garage already. That's right. So this is the old highway garage. Going to change out the halogens and put in LEDs. Utility body truck was on that acquisition. That's why it's in blue, and that was in that plan we approved the other evening.
But no, that's, this is for the building maintenance department, and that's projected to be replaced in 22-23. See the blue?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Okay. HVAC pump replacements, we put money aside every year for the HVAC systems throughout the town. It's not enough money, but at least gives us a head start for maintenance. The idea was to save enough money that when an HVAC system needs to be replaced, there'd be enough money there. Basically, we just put enough money for maintenance and repair. and various townwide roof replacement projects that also we've kind of brought down to a very minimal level, and that's more for patching than it is for replacing of roofs at this point.
Mark, what was the laptop computers for, you missed that one, registers?
Yeah, that's for in an out year. It's not in this current year, but they need a laptop for municipal
Well,
elections.
we may have to go to electronic checking in, and that's why we're
Okay,
putting them
that's
in
what I
the
was
plan.
wondering.
It hasn't
It's a
quite
placeholder.
been decided yet, but they've brought it to our attention, so we just put it in there so that we keep it on our radar.
So you'd have to have a laptop in each polling location, or would you have to have multiple ones?
Maybe.
One at each polling place.
Yeah.
But usually there's like, 8 people.
8 people at each polling
Oh,
place,
each polling.
logging people in,
Yeah.
checking your license against the $8,000 for 2 or 3 laptops, is probably a little high, so I think it's more than that.
I think it's a placeholder, and I don't know what the Secretary of State's going to do to change the rules. But it's there as a tickler, if you will.
Could that be a LoSiP funding, or is that not allowed?
No, it wouldn't be a LoSiP funding.
It's
That really needs to be capital, repair of building, repair of parking lots.
Yeah, all right.
Mark, the only question I had on these, and it's probably, but out, in the out years, there's a placeholder to replace both fire department buildings for $3 and $4 million apiece. So as we work on the septic and work on parking lots, we're not gonna be investing money that we're gonna undo later on if we replace the
Are you on
fire.
the second page?
It's on page
2.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
On the fire departments?
so
Yeah,
I-
those are placeholders that, again, when you're getting way out there, we used to have a 5-year plan, and the 5th year was just loaded up with things that someday we have to do. I don't see either fire department getting any upgrades in the next decade, frankly. We've put money into them, and I think we have to go down the road pretty far.
Maintain them,
before-
vice replace them.
Yeah.
And is it the Grand Street, the Niantic Fire Department is really on a septic system? There's no sewer there to tie into?
No.
Wow, okay,
It's
thanks.
not downtown. I mean, it's on Main Street, but it doesn't come up Penn Ave. This building is on a septic? Correct? Yeah.
Oh, all right,
Really?
thanks.
Believe so.
Yes, and Snap Fitness, that whole plaza is on
Oh, yeah,
septic.
you're right. Yeah, remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. And that, we have $2-3 million pockets sitting out there for the police station. Really, one of them should be $2 million. Because we only got approved for 5.
Okay.
We might need to bring that back up, but at this point,
You're right, thank you.
yeah, I just noticed that. Server replacement at the police station is different than, they're going out and buying a server. We're gonna hold off on that and install that in the new police station, obviously. We're not gonna rush that purchase, but it is in our budget. The Waterford boat, it needs an engine replacement. It's a Waterford East Lyme police boat. I thought it was just 2 years of 8,000 each. This is showing 3 years.
And we
It's
needed,
24,000 a town.
oh yeah, it's a large dollar.
Big engine, right?
Is it not working right now?
It's
It
going
needs a
to-
replacement.
It's gonna need replacement.
It's gonna need,
Yeah.
okay.
It's gonna need a replacement. So that's in there right now, and as you see, there's 2 police patrol utility vehicles, there's actually 3 in there. Those are all being paid for by the police department that collects fees now for outside overtime jobs, and we charge $25 an hour on the police cars. And they, like other towns do, and they collect that money, we put it aside in the CNRE, and they're buying their own police cars now. There's 2 patrol vehicles and a detective car that is scheduled to be purchased if they raise enough money for this current budget year. And those are done on leases. They don't have enough cash to buy vehicles for cash. There is a need to replace it's not a 34-year-old, it's a 28-year-old engine. I did the math last night. It's a 1992 pumper truck, and they're really talking $550 as a minimum. There's some discussion that might have to go off another year, but that's where it is right now. They are in need to replace that. As you see, if you skip down, you'll see that Flanders has a replacement of a 1993 fire truck next year. There is talk about buying them, buy two, you get a better deal from the same company going out to bid. We'd pay for one the first year and pay for the second year. But if they know the order's coming, and we have a purchase order out there, they would. There's a substantial deal when you're doing it that way. Going back up to Niantic, because I did skip over it, the turnout gear. They buy 4 each year to replace. And this is the uniform that they wear to fires. They have a shelf life. It's a short shelf life. And we buy 4 a year to replace what they rotate through. Flanders does it in a different way, and we'll go through that. Thermal imaging camera is something they use. It's for active fires, right? They go in there to see if there's any bodies in there or animals, and where the hot spots might be, and all that other stuff. They're in need of replacement on that. There's a chief's vehicle listed for $50,000 for an F-250. I have a little bit of personal issue with that. I think we can kind of downsize that a little bit. I have a concern as a taxpayer buying a $50,000 F-250. You'll also see one in Chris's budget. So,
When
saying
it
it to
says
your
other
face.
funds, where would those other funds come from?
That's part of the acquisition plan.
Yeah, blue is now acquisition. We probably should note that on the 5th page. You seem to be putting all your acquisition in blue, and therefore, the other funds. They need 4 full sets of structural firefighting. What's PPE?
Equipment?
So is that turnout gear? So we should be calling it the same thing. They're the same price this time.
You're right.
They didn't always used to be the same price. They too are now buying 4 sets a year to replace what they have. They are the ones that buy the batteries. If there's any batteries in these walkie-talkies, these high-end units that go, that's where it shows up in a budget. Either fire station is typically picking up the batteries from that fund, and a sort of hose replacement comes from that fund at $6,000 a year. Niantic doesn't budget for that, apparently. I think they do it all at once, and they go into a capital request when they need it. Emergency management is also showing F-250 Super Cab. I think when we get to the acquisition, don't forget, we approved this, but doesn't mean any of it's going to be spent. They have to go through the acquisition program, which means they come back with the bids and all that, and with our comments about what's appropriate. So that's at the bottom of the page. On the top of page 3.
Why would there be a second one needed out in 24 and 25?
That would be for probably your deputy fire marshal. There's one sitting out there in 24, 25, or 55 for another vehicle acquisition. Okay. Honestly, Paul, we don't even look past the second year, and we should. This year's CIP committee was a little bit more rushed as we were getting to budget time. Public Works, $415,000 of equipment and vehicles. There is a list
On page 5.
on page 5. And that's the Public Works vehicles down below, a hook truck. And when we get closer to actually initiating this, you'll see that what Joe wants to do is get a hook truck. That's a truck. It's a flatbed and pulls up the
Roll-offs.
what is it? A roll-off. Yeah,
Containers.
a dumpster roll-off. And instead of our trash trucks, which cost $300,000 something on the road all the time, going to Willimantic or going to Lisbon, to drop off their loads, we would dump it into the hook truck. It's much cheaper and it's more roadworthy, get greater gas mileage and all the other stuff.
Mhm.
And we can also do it in the mornings the next day instead, in which there isn't a line of trucks up there. So we get up there and then we have to wait another hour because we have to get in line because every town's trash truck is showing up at the same time because they all pick up in the morning and go up there. So a lot of towns are doing it this way. So that's the roll-off. The F-350 bed is for the general foreman. That is kind of a repair truck. Is that the repair truck or is that the F-550?
The 550.
The 550 is the repair truck that'll be on the road that can get out there. We have a lot of trucks on the road that get flat tires, that have engine problems and all that, and that would be a machine that would go out and be able to service the trucks and also do work out on the road. The F-350 is for the general foreman. It'll also be a plow truck. And the skid steer is a small little, like a Bobcat front loader. And again, when we get closer to actually having the acquisition in front of us, you'll hear more details on that stuff. I think it was voted on the other night. That's
Right,
part of
so
that package.
The
Many of those are.
350 and the skid steer may come off next year's plan if the Board of Finance approves allowing us to use the prior year remaining funds.
Which we're hopeful for, because it would save the town a lot of money. Joe's not gonna buy snowplows next year. He typically buys them every other year. We need a new scale house, a loader shed, and drainage. We need some improvements up at the transfer station. Those are LoSiP funds. If we get the state fund financing, we'll go with that. We need to improve roads and keep up with our road program. We're the envy of other towns because we keep up with our road plan instead of having to dig up roads and put new ones down at a very expensive number. We maintain them and repair them. And as you know, that we've been doing this program for quite a while now, and we are in good shape. Maintenance of town-owned dams is a LoSiP project that it's kind of a placeholder in there, and town-owned bridges. $20,000 won't get us anywhere to go fix a bridge, but it's a placeholder in there. As long as it's in there, if we receive some LoSiP funds, we'll be able to move money around and use LoSiP funds. Should one of our town bridges, and by the way, there's 2 bridges in town that are on the list that we do need to start investing money into, and that will come up soon. Carpeting at the library. We have a 30-year-old, now a 31-year-old building, and the carpeting is original. Our library gets 100,000 visits a year from citizens and visitors in the library, not in the whole building, just in the library. And the carpeting is, they call that threadbare. Could you say it that way? We're talking about replacing that with some areas with carpet, some square carpets. We might not have to do the whole project in 1 year. We might do the hallways and the high traffic areas.
And actually, after we had the discussion the other night at the Board of Finance meeting, I did touch base with Lisa, and she, basically, if we just do the areas that need it the most, we would, the Board of Finance would be able to reduce it by half of it, about
Right.
45,000.
Yeah, there's some areas where it's bubbling up.
It's bubbled up in the past. It's become a bit of a liability hazard. I know lawyers love to hear that, but, you know. If we go to Parks and Rec, we've taken off the athletic field at Roxbury Road. We were carrying that for many years as I think an $8 million project or 6 or whatever it was. It's not realistic in this day and time, so we're not going to suggest even in the next 10 years of funding another athletic field on Roxbury Road on that prison property. Relamping athletic lighting at Peretz Park, those are like the original lamps, some of them, and they do need to go to kind of an LED system. We would save electricity